Awesome developments for the software front that we can examine again with the Astra 2. The 8 Elite Gen 5 is an 8-core chipset that features the 3rd generation of not identical, and the off-center one, which is on the short side of the tablet, is a full USB 3.2 Gen 2 port, megapixel rear camera, and orientation, all backed by an 8300 mAh battery, which is larger by 100 mAh compared to the original Astra. And this time around, we've got up to 75 watt fast charging on board, and with the USB 3.2 Gen 2 port, it's capable of a full charge in just 57 minutes, which I actually tested myself with a slim Q charger that I had on hand here, and can confirm it achieved that, as well as a 68% charge, first for a Red Magic device, and it also offers charging separation to help preserve that. Let's talk about the launch. $149 for the 12 and 256 GB configuration, and then $849 US for the 16 GB and 512 GB configuration. The Astra 2 will be available for sale in the following regions, with availability for Vietnam, Thailand, Turkey, and Brazil at a later date. I'd like to thank Red Magic for sending me this in, using liquid metal for the CPU to help transfer heat from the chip to the vapor chamber. And of course, the big thing that Red Magic is including as part of their Aqua Core cooling system is the flowing liquid cooling, which we can actually see moving on the back of the tablet. Now, we saw this with the Red Magic 11 series phones, and now they have brought it over to the Red Magic Astra 2, which is a first for their tablets. Unfortunately, the liquid cooling aspect is mostly as we saw before, and it doesn't actually do a whole lot for thermal stability. We can see that with the liquid cooling turned on or turned off, the numbers are pretty close to being the same in that Rise preset. Red Magic does claim that the liquid cooling system is designed to draw heat away from the battery, and so that is possibly why we're not seeing it show up here in the 3D Mark tests. Now, you can see that with the Rise preset, we are definitely getting a little bit of a drop in terms of performance, but this is pretty solid for a tablet that has no active cooling. I will say that when you push the tablet hard for much more demanding tasks, the entire chassis gets pretty hot to handle, and so it does mean that for very high S8 as some examples of options that do fit this small tablet. Now, you might want to go back and watch my old video of the first Astra tablet, because the same exact issue with that one applies here. And if you guessed it was the off-centered USB port on the short side, then you guessed correctly and deserve a delicious cookie for that. For whatever reason, the Astra 2 still has the same problem, and so that means that USB-C controls will sit kinda awkwardly with the Astra 2 attached. But not only that, the power button is still on the opposite side, and so that is something that will get pressed when you have a telescopic controller attached, which means you will need something to block that so it doesn't happen. As before, the best options are those that are Bluetooth based, and the Shadow Blade 3 is one of my personal favorites here. But if you're looking for something similar and substantially cheaper, GameSir's X5S is an excellent alternative, which I believe is going for only $40 on Amazon, and since GameSir makes both of these controllers, you are still getting similar quality. The biggest difference being the micro switches that are on the Shadow Blade as opposed to the membrane-based face buttons and D-pad that are on the X5S. You also lose out on the macro buttons that are available on the Shadow Blade 3, but personally for the price difference, I don't think it's a huge deal breaker. Which is going to be the hottest point. It sits on the opposite side away from where the CPU is located, which is going to be the hottest point, and so it's probably not as effective as it can be. I think that the Red Magic Shadow Blade 3 or the GameSir X5S might actually be the better options when paired with the cooler, since it does get us closer to that hot point, but still not quite where we want it to go. Regardless, I know I'll be exploring other alternatives and maybe even checking out a magnetic type cooler instead. We're now finally ready to talk some gaming, and we're going to start out with native Android.
Less RAM, GPU with 12 OS, to SteamOS, 3OS Hollow, 3OS Hollow, 3 BIOS. I've gone definitely overkill for the chip we have here, but I've got it enabled. And I've also managed to install the chip we have here, but I've got it enabled. And I've also managed to install full TDP and GPU control here. If we try it from here, manual GPU clock, you'll see it'll only go up to 1600, but this will go much higher. I've installed a third-party plugin known as Simple Decky TDP Control. Now we can go from 4 watts up to 40. We can disable boost, disable 1080 because I'm compiling a list of different devices and how they perform. I have yet to test the 8840U with SteamOS or official SteamOS, just to be able to do a big comparison between a lot of different devices, especially the Steam Deck itself. But yeah, as you can see, with that Steam Deck preset at 1080, we're up in the mid 70s with it. Not too bad for a 15 watt TDP. And of course, we can go up to 40 watts with this, so we could get a lot more out of it if we wanted to. Next up, we've got Doom Eternal 1080p low 15 watt TDP. And I wanted to run this on battery just to see what kind of battery life we could expect out of something like this. And we've only got a 50 watt hour battery. With a game like this at a 15 watt TDP, looks like we're pulling close to a total of 27 watts from the battery, which isn't bad given the screen size here. And if we were to play a game that's a lot easier to run, say Hades 2 at a 10 watt TDP, we're now always love throwing in at least one fighting game.
Not argue. Not argue. Yes. Yes. Here I come. Let's go. I thought as much. Ice, take you. Forward. Swiftly. Here's ice in your eyes. To battle. Down. On. Here I come. I'll freeze you fast.
A trifle.
I move. Swift as the wolves of Ice Rack. On. Down you go. Swiftly. Nice. Faster. I'll not argue. To battle. Attack. Indeed. Fangs of ice. Forward. Into the breach. Yes. I got it.
It's not that funny.
Miss me? Agreed. Let's go. Indeed. The ice wolves bite. I've got goosebumps. Let's go. On. Ooh, fasting. To battle. Swiftly. Ice, take you.
The rune of you.
Into the breach.
Radiant
I
structures
thought as
are
much.
fortified.
I'll not argue. I move. Agreed. Yes.
Double kill.
Here I come. Forward. I thought as much. To battle. Agreed. Swiftly.
The enemy's middle tower has fallen.
Indeed. Here's ice in your eye. On. I'll not argue.